A lucky Viking who found Vinland, then fought over the Canadian coastline. A fateful journey across the Atlantic. The Viking sagas tell of many bold explorers who ventured into the unknown, but few stories are as compelling as that of Leif Erikson, the Norseman who stumbled upon the lush lands of Vinland. Nearly 500 years before Christopher Columbus set sail, the Vikings had already reached the shores of North America. But discovery was only part of the story. Conflict, survival, and ambition would shape the Norse experience on the new continent. This was not merely a journey of exploration, but one of resilience and struggle against both nature and native inhabitants. Leif Erikson's voyage, a fortunate mistake. The legend of Vinland begins with a storm-tossed sea and an accidental discovery. Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red, was raised in the Norse settlement of Greenland. Around the year 1000 AD, Leif set out on a voyage meant to explore lands to the west that had been rumoured by another Norse sailor, Bjarni Herjolfsson. Unlike Bjarni, who had merely sighted the land from afar, Leif was determined to explore these new territories firsthand. Leif and his crew landed in an area he named Helluland, likely Baffin Island, a desolate and icy land unfit for settlement. Pressing onward, they reached a more hospitable land with forests, rivers, and an abundance of game. This he called Markland, believed to be Labrador. But it was the third land they reached, Vinland, that would capture their imagination. With its mild climate, fertile land, and wild grapes, it seemed an almost mystical place, offering opportunities for expansion and prosperity. This paradise, however, would prove difficult to hold. Establishing the Vinland settlement. Excited by the potential of this newfound land, Leif and his crew built shelters and spent the winter in Vinland. The land was rich with resources, timber, which was scarce in Greenland, and wild grapes, which led to its name. The Norse gathered supplies and took note of the land's bounty, preparing to return home with news of their discovery. Upon their return to Greenland, Leif's stories spread quickly, and his success inspired further voyages. However, Leif himself did not return to Vinland. Instead, his brother Thorvald Eriksson led the next expedition, seeking to establish a more permanent presence. However, what they found was not an empty land waiting for settlers, but one already inhabited by native peoples. Clashes with the indigenous people. The Norse soon encountered the native inhabitants of North America, whom they called the Skraelings. These were likely the ancestors of the Beothuk, or other indigenous groups of the Canadian coastline. Relations were uneasy from the start. While initial encounters were peaceful, tensions soon escalated as the two groups competed over resources. During one such encounter, Thorvald's group engaged in a skirmish with the Skraelings. After the Norse killed a few of the native warriors, the Skraelings retaliated with a swift and deadly counterattack. Thorvald himself was mortally wounded by an arrow, marking the first significant loss for the Norse in Vinland. It was a grim reminder that this new land would not be easily claimed. Karlsefni's attempt to colonize Vinland. Undeterred by Thorvald's fate, another Viking, Thorfinn Karlsefni, led an expedition with a larger group, including women and livestock, in an attempt to settle Vinland permanently. For a time, the colony thrived, benefiting from the land's natural resources. However, the Skraelings viewed the Norse as invaders, and repeated conflicts arose. The Norse, though fierce warriors, were outnumbered and unfamiliar with the terrain. One of the most notable conflicts occurred when a trade negotiation turned hostile. The Skraelings attacked in force, and despite Norse efforts to defend their settlement, it became clear that they could not sustain themselves amid constant warfare. The dream of a permanent Norse colony in North America was slipping away. The Vikings' retreat from North America. After several years of struggling against the hostile environment and increasing native resistance, Karlsefni and his settlers made the difficult decision to abandon Vinland. They returned to Greenland, bringing tales of the new land but acknowledging its challenges. Although they had the skill and the courage to survive, the Norse lacked the numbers and support needed to maintain a colony in the face of determined indigenous opposition. Without reinforcements or additional settlers, their foothold in the Americas faded. The mystery of Vinland's legacy. Despite the Vikings' withdrawal, Vinland did not fade from memory. The sagas preserved its legend, and Norse artifacts found in places like Lanceau Meadows in Newfoundland provide archaeological evidence of their presence. These discoveries confirm that the Norse were the first known Europeans to set foot in North America, long before Columbus's arrival. Some theories suggest that small Norse groups may have continued to visit North America for years after the main settlements were abandoned, perhaps to gather resources such as timber. However, without sustained reinforcements from Greenland or Iceland, Vinland remained beyond their grasp. The great Norse expansion into the New World was, in the end, a fleeting but remarkable achievement. A bold chapter in Viking history. The tale of the Viking exploration of North America is one of adventure, ambition, and the harsh realities of survival in an unfamiliar land. Though they failed to establish a lasting colony, their journeys marked an extraordinary achievement in maritime history. The Norse were pioneers in exploration, demonstrating the courage to cross the Atlantic centuries before it became common. Vinland remains an enduring legend, a testament to the Viking spirit of discovery and the challenges they faced in a distant and unyielding land. Though the giants of the North may have left their mark on Canadian shores for only a brief time, their legacy is carved into history, waiting to be told and retold for generations to come. The saga of Vinland continues to inspire explorers, historians, and storytellers alike, a reminder of the bold Norsemen who dared to sail beyond the known world in search of new horizons.